So, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Brazilian Student Council Symposium. My name is Matheus Veiga, and I will introduce you to our first webinar. So, let me just project here. So, first and foremost, I want to thank to everyone that is present here and to our team in the RSG Brazil, and also for the AB3C and ISCB for the help in the in the financial and organization to make this symposium possible. So first and foremost, I want to invite you to follow us in our social media, and I'm gonna give you right now a little introduction to who we are. So first, we need to talk about ISCB, which is the International Society for Computational Biology, which is the biggest international organization for computational biology, and which has its own student council, a space dedicated for the students around the world, which works with bioinformatics and computational biology to promote the field. And inside the student council, we have local organizations, which we call regional student groups or RSGs. And between all the active RSGs worldwide, we have the RSG Brazil, which is a partnership between the ESB and AB3C, and that make it possible to this event to occur. So here we have a map with all the active RSGs in this year, and in yellow we have the ones that are temporarily inactive, and in blue we have the ones that are currently active. And here we have the RSG Brazil that started in 2009 and goes until 2011, and had a little break until 2015 when we came back, and we working on these last almost 10 years until nowadays in 2024. So now we have in RSG Brazil several active projects involving training and learning podcasts, LBB, which is our competition in Brazil of bioinformatics. We have our social medias, Bioinfo Fora da Bolha, which is our outreach profile in Instagram, and we also have our symposiums. For all of these projects, you can find more about in our website and Instagram. So focusing more on our symposium, the Brazilian Student Council Symposium occurs annually, and this year's theme is bioinformatics training and education, focusing on the 7 essential topics in bioinformatics, which are knowledge in biology, methods in statistics and data science, knowledge of computing, interdisciplinary programming, ethical implications and repercussions in bioinformatics in Brazil, bioinformatics applications, communications in bioinformatics, and continuous developments in bioinformatics. We have been talking about it in our Instagram in each of these 7 topics, and now we are going to discuss some of them directed in some approaches involving webinars and panels. So here we have our calendar. So we are here in May, which will have the pre-event webinars, the first one being today, and in June in Salvador, in Bahia, in Brazil, we will have our in-person edition of the symposium with our social event. And in the previous day, in June 10, we will have pre-course events, more informations in our websites and Instagram. So focusing more on our webinars, we'll have 3, with the first one being today with Professor Patricia Palagi. And I'm honored to invite the host, Nilson Coimbra, to introduce our speaker today. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you, Mateus. Thank you, everyone, for this webinar series to happen. We've been working really hard for come up with this event and for the symposium, this edition symposium this year. And I'm thrilled to invite my distinguished guest to join me in the in the stage of this webinar, Patricia Palagi. Please be welcome. I have prepared a small introduction of you to the audience, and I'm honored to be your guest in this webinar. So I will call you to join me here.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nilson. Thank you, Mateus, and thank you also for this invitation from the RSG-Brazil. I'm very honored to be here with you as well today. I'm very happy to discuss a little bit about training with you all.
Thank you very much. I have prepared this small introduction for you, so I will get my clue here. So, Patricia Palagi has a bachelor degree in biology and master degree in computer science from the University of Brasilia, Brazil, and a PhD degree in cognitive sciences from IMGP Grenoble, France. Since 1997, she joined the Molecular Imaging and Bioinformatics Laboratory in Geneva, one of the 5 pillars laboratories of what will become the CB, the Swiss Institute of Bioinformatics, late year. In the CB, she started as a researcher in neural network, proteomics, bioinformatics for mass spectrometry analysis, and gradually she moved to teaching, training, and management of a variety of bioinformatics education program and training events. And in 2013, she was appointed as leader of the CB training group in charge of developing and delivering training courses in bioinformatics and computational biology. She is the co-chair of the International Society for Computational Biology Education Community of Special Interest Group, and she is the deputy editor for the educational track of the PLOS Computational Biology Journal. She's a Elixir training coordinator for Switzerland and a Goblet member. Some of her topics of interest are FAIR for training and best practice in training. And she's also a co-leader of the Elixir Global Train the Trainers, Train the Trainer courses, and she has been contributing to development of the training curricular and materials together with several colleagues from Elixir, Global, ISB for almost close to 10 years. Oof. Wow, what a curriculum, right? Patricia, I am honored to be your guest here. Please be welcome to this webinar series for the Student Council Symposium, the Brazilian version of the Student Council Symposium. So the stage is yours. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Nilson. Thank you for this nice introduction as well. It's true that it's a little bit long. It shows that I have been in the stage for a long time.
Thank you.
Everyone who is hearing us. So I'm going to do also the presentation I'm going to share my screen now, do my presentation in English, but afterwards we can speak in Portuguese as well. If you want to send your questions in Portuguese, welcome as well. Okay.
Thank you, Patricia. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. So I hope you can see my slides and my screen. And so thank you again for this nice introduction. And I have also 2 slides that would briefly say who I am as well, before I dive into what I wanted to discuss with you today is about education, training, and open and fair as well. So who I am. I was born in Porto Alegre, you see, that is very sad situation today. I'm very sad to hear what is going on in Brazil. I'm following everything that is happening there. And I'm all with all my heart with the people from Porto Alegre and the region of Rio Grande do Sul. After a little while, when I was 11, more or less, I moved to Brasilia. And I did my bachelor's in biology and my master's in computer science there at University of Brasilia, as Nilson had already said. And from there, I went to France to do my PhD, yes, in cognitive sciences. It was already mixing biology, computer science, image analysis, neural networks, and some things that are still very, very used today. And then after a while, I moved to Geneva, and where I have been working there since it was even before SIB, the Swiss Institute of Bioinformatics, was created. And since then, I have been working there in many different positions, but in the last years, being the head of training, as Nilson had already said. So a little bit more about me on the fun side. I love cats. You'll see maybe some of them passing around. So I have 3 currently. And I love traveling a lot. I love going to exhibitions. I love music. I love good food, even though these pictures here were taken in an airport, so it's not so good, but at least there's some kind of food and pictures. And I love connecting with people. So you can see here some people who are in the training group in the bottom, and one of the courses that we had for the Train the Trainer some years ago. So this is about me, and what I'm doing today, Nils already said, so I'm just going to briefly capture that again. So I'm leading us at the SIB training group. This group we're about 9 people now today. We deliver a lot of courses. I'm going to tell a little bit about this afterwards. And I'm the training coordinator for Elixir Switzerland. Elixir is an European research infrastructure that has nowadays 23 nodes. Each node is a country. Switzerland, SIB, is the Swiss node of Elixir. And what I do as a training coordinator, I connect everything that we are doing in training in Switzerland to Europe and vice versa. If whatever our colleagues are doing in Europe in training, we connect and we try to do the same as well to get in Switzerland as well. So it's a connection between these networks, Switzerland and Europe. I'm the co-chair, as you said as well, of the ISCB Education COSI. So it's COSI is for Community of Special Interest. And we also connect what we are doing in Europe and Switzerland together with international partners and colleagues as well to bring education and put education and training in the spotlight. And I'm also the deputy editor of the PLOS Computational Biology journal, the education track. In the case you don't know, we have a track that in the education for PLOS only. If whenever you want to submit an article for education, it's totally free. You don't need to pay any fees for that. And 10 Simple Rules papers that many of you know already, it's part also of this education track as well. So also 10 Simple Rules, quick tips as well is another kind of track that we have inside the education track of computational biology. So you're welcome to submit any papers that you have in this area. And finally, then I'm the Elixir Goblet Train the Trainer co-leader of this program. We have this program, it is about best practices in teaching and agnostic to any field. So we have created some sessions to teach people what are the best ways to do or things that they should be thinking of when they are going to prepare training or when they are going to design the training. And this is a joint venture between Elixir and Goblet, that is the Global Organization for Bioinformatics and Learning, Education and Training. So, too much about me. Now let's go to what I'm going to talk here today. In fact, I'm in my in the presentation that Nilson had. He said about 3 things. So SIB training, what are the main things that I'm working on today? SIB training, the Elixir Goblet Train the Trainer project, and the FAIR training. But today I'm only going to talk to you about the first one and the last one, about SIB training and the FAIR training. So what do we do to obtain bioinformatics skills? To since you are all maybe bachelor students, master students, PhD students, you are all in the situation of been learning bioinformatics skills in the university curriculum. Once you have finished this, then you have all the types of education as well, how you can continue learning bioinformatics, usually through lifelong learning programs like certificates of advanced studies, MBAs, for example, more advanced programs that they can give you a certificate at the end. But then we have also short guided courses, smaller in time as well, with a lot of guidance. You have online resources like e-learning modules. You can also learn by yourselves using tutorials and materials that you can find online, and any other internet websites that you can find to learn. No? There are many ways and options of learning bioinformatics today. So we and the SIB, we are focusing these three things that have been highlighted here in these three steps here, where we can help people to develop their bioinformatics skills. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this now. So what we are doing in the SIB in the SIB training group, in the SIB for training. What we do is we have over 60 courses that we organize per year. They are very much hands-on, very practical, a little bit of theory, but a lot of practice. And they are very short courses as well, usually between 1 and 3 days. Usually they are very summed up together. Sometimes we have summer schools for one special topic that we do this in the mountains, for example, in Switzerland. And these are very, so as I said, very practical, very focused for the application of that. For those 60 courses that we organize per year, we have plenty of trainers, most of them from the SIB, so experts from many different fields. And those courses attract a lot of people everywhere. We have over 14,000 people attending our courses. So in the slides you see afterwards, we're gonna share the slides with you as well. They are already online, and then you can click on all these links that are here, so you can find all the courses that we have coming up in this link that is shown here. We have also online courses that are very short, for 1 or 2 hours, that anyone can take on their own time, so they are self-paced. Also very interactive, you see, and very for small topics that can be condensed in 1 or 2 hours then. We also have now, and since last year, we have been in this driving the online materials. For us, it was very important to put everything that we have been doing open and fair. This is one of the things I'm going to talk later. And everything that we have that is available, all our materials in this website here that you're going to see afterwards as well. We have also many videos from many lectures that were online that we have made a collection here in the YouTube. And we also have another collection that is Glitter that I'm going to talk about, and Elixir is one of the is a platform also from Elixir where you can find materials and events in training. So something that I forgot to say here on the top, that from those more or less average 60 courses that we organize per year, half of them are now online. So they are streamed and not only in person. So also anyone from anywhere can attend as well. So the topics that we have for SIB courses, they are very general. There is a variety of them. We do a lot of courses in programming, Unix, scripting, OpenNP, parallelization, version control, workflows, and things like this. We have a lot of Python as well. We have a lot of courses in R in very different levels, beginners, intermediate, more applied R courses as well, and R Shiny, packaging, data visualization, reproducibility, and so on. And we have some courses in statistics as well. Statistics with machine learning, Bayesian statistics, and things like this. And then we have as well a lot of courses on data analysis, how to submit data to ENA, how to analyze NGS data, long reads, transcriptomics, single cell, a lot of them, enrichment analysis, machine learning, deep learning, multiomics, and things like this. Some courses in data management as well is a topic that we have been enhancing for the last years, because there is a big trend, I think, in Europe and everywhere else about good data management plans and how you can think of how you're going to keep your data and the results of your research available for everyone in a long-term time frame. You know? And the verification as well of your data and verification of your research. And then we have also other topics like best practice in programming, immunoinformatics, SIB resources. We have lots of databases and we have courses on them, etc. So you have an idea here of the flavor of the whole portfolio that we have for SIB courses. We also have then, as I said, some e-learning short e-modules for e-learning that you can take whenever you have time for them. Some of the examples that I have put here, one of them is the Unix Fundamentals. It's a very old e-module that we have, but we use that as a resource for courses that happen in person or online as well. We have recently added 3 new small e-modules, e-learning modules in vocabularies for bioinformatics, file formats in bioinformatics, identifiers in bioinformatics, all those related to the FAIR data now in bioinformatics. We have other types of e-learning as well, for example, explore and visualize your data with Python. And for all the courses or most of the courses that we are doing either in person or online, we are trying to make our course materials available to everyone. So some of the examples that we have here, so you can find on our website, the courses, the training materials for NGS, single cell, Docker and Singularity, and so on. I think that the last time that I looked at our website, we have 35 materials for 35 courses. So a little bit about fair training. What do we mean by fair training and why this is so important for us? In fact, this whole story about fair training started in 2018, when I was invited in the Elixir to give a presentation about FAIR and what we were doing about this in FAIR at the time and in training. And at the time in 2018, there was nothing about it. So I started thinking about this and I started galvanizing my colleagues of Elixir. We started working together, and the result of that discussion that we had in this community was the paper that we published in 2020. There was the 10 simple rules for training materials. And from there, from that discussion of what we should be doing to make our training materials fair, we ended up recently creating a handbook for that, the FAIR Training Handbook. You're going to have also the link that in the slides. So this FAIR handbook, I'm going to give an example of what we are doing at SIB for all the chapters that you have here in this handbook, so that you can have a practical view of how we can put that into real practice. And you see that for any kind of verification of data or training, take some little steps. But as the time goes by, as we start doing those steps, they become easier and easier. And then we realize that by doing them at the beginning, after a moment, they become your natural way of doing things. So you're going to see that, so all that is written there in the handbook, we are going to apply that in the SIB training. So the first thing in the first chapter of that book is why open and fair. No, open and fair, we have seen that as a trend now everywhere, is that we as researchers, scientists, we have the duty, more or less, to give back to the community what we have been producing as data, as materials, as everything, so that others can reuse, can make have new insights about those. So make what we are producing a living object. So we have in the SIB and Elixir as well, as a vision that we want to ensure, at least Switzerland at the time, I'll show you afterwards what else, we wanted to ensure that Switzerland maintains a highly skilled workforce in the increasingly data-intensive life and health sciences. And to go into that, doing training is not enough because we cannot afford to accept everyone who needs training in all our courses. So we had to go beyond that and promote also what we have as training courses to be used as self-learning. That was our vision as well, to make available everything that we have for everyone, to teaching and to learning as well. So if we extend that beyond Switzerland, in fact, our vision is also that everyone, everywhere, could also benefit from that and reuse that and continue, and we all as a community continue to improve and the workforce that we have for these data-intensive fields. So with that as a vision, we have been working to make all our course materials, tutorials, scripts part of open and fair, so that this can help others to learn. FAIR, I don't know if everybody's aware of what it means then, is that FAIR stands for findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. So we are committed that in the SIB to make our training materials openly available. So it means that anyone can take them and reuse with a permissive license then. And they are all fair as well, findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. And for some of the courses, most of them, we also have videos and additional guidance, so that can be used as self-learning as well. So let's dive a little bit into that. First thing then, to make this findable, accessible, and reusable and interoperable, especially the interoperable, the I here, what we are doing for that is that we are using material types and formats that facilitate the fairness. Facilitated in the sense that others can edit what we are doing, what we make available. Others can start from there and extend, modify, and do whatever they need with that and do something else. So reuse as well. So what we have been using, we use Markdown, we use Docker containers as well. We have materials that can, in formats like this, that can be edited and reused. We also have videos. I don't know how easy they are to be edited, but we can try to at least. And we also have PowerPoints too, but some of those PowerPoints, we try to make them available also in other formats that anyone can reuse and take from there. So this is one of the ways of doing that. We are putting also all those materials for each course in a platform, open platform that we use now is GitHub. Besides from making available the course materials, it's always easier as well for the maintenance, for the versioning as well. One course is a course instance for us. That course instance is going to repeat. For example, we have a course in single cell, for example, that we repeat 3 times a year. The material is the same. And each instance is one instance of the course, and then we can give a version for the training materials for the instance of the course. So one course instance has one version of the materials associated to that. It helps us then in the life cycle of our training materials and as well for others to contribute, because then in GitHub people can open issues if there is anything that people can see a problem, or if people have an idea to improve that, they can also raise an issue also in GitHub. So it's a collaborative way of having materials where others can contribute as well. We are describing our materials with specific metadata, with some kind of vocabularies that others can reuse. And for example, we are using the bioschemas vocabulary to annotate our training materials so that it becomes easier. For example, you'll see later, so for Google to search website our training materials using this specific schema and ways to describe our materials. TESS as well, the Elixir portal is going to scrape our web pages easily and integrate that information easily in the website. So we use bioschemas to describe our metadata. This is for those that don't know, to give you an idea what it is about bioschemas and this specific training profile that we have hidden in our markup within our GitHub repos. So you see here that one specific training materials is the type of learning resource, the name of that, the course that this training material is associated is a Docker course. And you can see then there is the person, one of the authors of that is Gert, one of the person that works in the SIB training. This one is, he belongs to the SIB and so on. You see, this is the kind of metadata that is hidden in our course description and our training materials as well, describing the content of our training materials. So something else that we do as well, we have a persistent identifier for each one of our training materials so that we can always go back in the past. As I was saying, for one course instance, we have one course material associated to that. The unique identifier is going to be the Zenodo DOI. And based on that, also it's going to help in the version control of this. So one unique identifier helps to identify afterwards, once the course is over, to which course this material was associated to. And also the same way that we have a DOI for each training material, we use also DOI ORCIDs for the people who are the trainers or for the people who have contributed to that. So it's a good way as well to recognize the work that each one is contributing when creating the training materials together with us as well. We then make them accessible, so we use HTTP as a standard protocol, meaning that in our case, it's open to everyone. You don't need to log into anything. You don't need to register to anything. They are totally open. And we have as well a license where we describe as well, it's open, you can reuse, and we state here how can it be reused. In the case here, we use CC BY SA, meaning that you can take, reuse, and share alike, more or less the same as we are doing. By providing a license, this is part of the FAIR as well. It's going to be easy to know if they can reuse your materials and how they can reuse them. No. So, and then at the end, we boost the discoverability of that, meaning that we, besides from having the materials in our website and in GitHub, we are also going to cross-link that into registries like the Elixir TESS and a collection like Glitter. And also we do a little bit of fuzz, we talk about this, communicate and share this information in Twitter, LinkedIn, and other social media as well. So just 2 words as well about Elixir TESS and Glitter so that you have an idea of what I'm talking about. So Elixir is an aggregator of training events, training materials, e-learning modules, of workflows, everything that you can want and what can find about training in bioinformatics and related. So you can see here, this is the when you do a search, I did a search here for I filtered, in fact, for the courses in Switzerland. And what you see here in the display is some of the events that are in our website in the SIB. They are through the bioschemas metadata. Elixir scrapes our website and inserts that information directly here, and you can display that directly in the Elixir as well. So whenever you're looking for events, and these events are not in Europe only, and they can be in anywhere in the world, because there are many providers of this information from anywhere in the world, providing information for tests as well. So whenever you want to discover events, materials, workflows as well, collections, meaning collections can be collections in a topic, for example, all the courses in single cell and materials on single cell and so on. So a lot of information that you can find about training is in Elixir TES. And Glitter is also from was developed by SIB, one of our colleagues, Gert, who has been in the group for the last years. He's very much into open and fair. He's nowadays leading the fair training focus group in Elixir, together with 2 other colleagues. And in that context, in the SIB, he saw that there was a lack in a way to find all the GitHub repositories related to training in bioinformatics that are available everywhere. We can search, of course, in Google, and we can search in internet. It takes a while to see which are the ones that are useful for us in bioinformatics. And that's why he had this idea of creating a collection. Is also like a repository where you can find all the GitHub repositories in any topics of bioinformatics, meaning that you can also, all these GitHub repositories for training materials, you can create another one, do a pull request, I think, something like that. You can reuse them, or you can use them as well to learn as well, not only for teaching, but also for learning. So you can see here on the right-hand side, some of the topics that you can find and how many training materials you have in there. For example, for the Julia programming language, you have 12, R Markdown, you have 8, and so on. Other types of filtering as well, and a lot of information as well on number of stars. Stars is that people who have liked those GitHub repos, and many other information as well. So it's a lot of information that you can have to reuse training materials that are online. You can find them thus in Glitter. Finally, the last step that we do for the verification of our training materials is about recognition. So we try to collect as much as possible all those who have the authors, so all those who have contributed to the training materials that we are talking about, those who are the teachers of these courses as well. We give authorship for everything that we have reused. So we give attribution for all those that from whom we had received inspiration, or takes parts of other courses that we have reused from some other people. And we give information as well on how you can cite whenever you reuse parts of what we are doing as well. So if you go back to that 10 simple rules paper, you see that all that you have seen here in these slides and also in the FAIR handbook, this is how we implement those in the SIB. So summing up of what I had to tell you today, first key take-home message is that there is a lot of training and in the SIB, not only training courses, but also training resources that you can take, reuse for your own teaching, and also to learn from them. So first take-home message. And second take-home message is that fairness, we always see that as something that is a lot of work. In the beginning, it is a bit of work, let's say like this, so that you understand all the steps that are needed and what you can do to make everything open and fair. But as I always say, that every time that I teach this as well, is that baby steps are better than no steps at all. So you start little by little, verifying using a GitHub, or describing correctly your training materials, or putting them available on your website and describing how they can be used. So you see, these are some of the steps that you and anyone can do to make your training materials as well open and fair, so that others can also benefit from the work that you are doing. So we see that as part of our contribution to the community of trainers and the community of bioinformatics. So to end my presentation here and then open up to the discussion and to your questions, I have a slide here where you can, all the ways that you can keep in touch with us, with me or in the people in the training group as well. You can have then this QR code here for where you can find directly the training course, the link to the upcoming training courses. We have a mailing list as well, where you can sign up and receive the information for the courses that are coming up every time that we open a new course, or for registrations, or when we have a new e-learning module, we announce that in our mailing list. For any questions as well that you have on our courses, or any way that you want to reach out to us. And Twitter as well, and the SIB training Twitter, SIB Twitter account, my Twitter account, through LinkedIn as well. I'm in LinkedIn and the SIB as well. And my email is over there as well for anything that you want to reach out to. E para finalizar, como eu sou de Porto Alegre e eu estou vendo essa situação no Brasil, eu tenho certeza que todo mundo está pensando a mesma coisa, que é uma situação muito difícil, muito triste, e eu estou de pensamento e de coração com o povo do Rio Grande do Sul, e eu torço para que essa situação acabe, ou que diminua, e que essa catástrofe seja resolvida logo, logo, que as pessoas possam sair dessa logo, logo. Meu pensamento para o Rio Grande do Sul. Thank you so much, muito obrigada. Eu vou parar minha apresentação aqui e abrir, então vou parar de fazer o stop sharing and open up for questions and for the discussion. Thank you so much, and thank you again for the nice invitation from Nils, from Matteo, and all from the RSCG community group as well. Thank you so much. Oh, Nilson, you are on mute.
Sorry. Obrigado, Patrícia. Eu fiquei um pouquinho emotivo agora por conta do seu pensamento no Rio Grande do Sul. É uma situação que é devastadora para todos nós, e a gente, como comunidade brasileira de bioinformática, tem se mobilizado e tentado ver formas de ajudar também, contribuir com o que tem acontecido, né? Obrigado. Obrigado, deixando esse momento um pouco de lado, voltando para o foco do webinar. Muito obrigado pela sua contribuição. A gente abre também agora perguntas para quem está assistindo a gente ao vivo, né? Se quiser colocar a sua pergunta no chat, a gente pode transmitir ela aqui direto para a Patrícia. E também já tem alguma pergunta no chat, e eu também tenho as minhas próprias perguntas, né?
Claro.
Minhas questões todinhas. Pessoalmente, eu também tenho um grande interesse na parte educacional, e eu sou um admirador muito do trabalho que o CIB ele entrega para a comunidade inteira, né? E eu fiquei muito, muito surpreso de saber que existe um handbook, né? Um guia para a gente poder utilizar e fazer uso de todo esse conhecimento que já foi acumulado e que está disponível. Pelo RSG, a gente tem um projeto de cursos, né, que a gente tenta trazer todos esses fundamentos que você passou agora na sua fala dentro dos cursos que a gente está desenhando pelo RSG, né? Eu acho que vai ser algo bem legal da gente utilizar esse handbook. Não sabia que existia isso, e é uma forma de contribuir a mais, né, da gente utilizar isso.
Exatamente,
o Mateus,
quando você me falou...
no chat, eu posso exibir ela na tela.
Claro, e só para completar, assim, quando você me falou que vocês têm esse projeto, né, de curso, eu pensei, puxa vida, tá aí uma boa oportunidade para eles começarem a fazerem algo open and fair, não? Botar todo esse material, todo esse trabalho que vocês vão botar, esse coração e esse tempo que vocês vão fazer para criar esses cursos, né? Botar eles à disposição.
Sim.
Né? É um ótimo
botar
projeto.
À disposição, deixar disponível para a comunidade. É um projeto grande, né? E deixo um convite para quem está assistindo a gente que queira contribuir, né, como professor, como colaborador, como treinador, que a gente possa elaborar materiais para a comunidade brasileira, que é uma comunidade que uma comunidade rica, muito bem desenvolvida, mas que existe uma grande falta de material em português para a comunidade, né? A gente tem, pela RSG, a gente tem visto que tem muito aluno da graduação, do mestrado, do doutorado chegando, e que sente falta desse treinamento em português. A gente encontra muito material já distribuído na língua inglesa, mas sabendo que a língua inglesa ela pode ser uma barreira para a gente, né? Então, a gente tem buscado formas de elaborar materiais em português para poder
claro,
promover a
natural.
comunidade dentro do Brasil.
Exatamente,
O
é um ótimo
Matheus,
projeto.
É um projeto muito grande, mas é um projeto que demanda muito tempo, né? E o tempo, às vezes, ele é curto. Então, o Matheus, se quiser voltar para a tela e fazer sua pergunta direto para a Patrícia, acho que fica mais dinâmico também. Né?
Eu vi, tem a questão tá ali nos comentários, né? How the machine learning AI, claro, is being integrated into bioinformatics education. How might this influence openness and equity in the field? Good question. É uma pergunta importante, não? Sobre como é que o machine learning está. Eu continuo em português ou respondo em inglês? Tanto faz.
Você fica à vontade.
Então, eu acho que eu vou fazer em inglês. Eu não sei quem mais está participando, né? Talvez seja mais fácil. Então, what we are doing about bioinformatics and machine learning now? We have seen since last year, since the huge buzz of the ChatGPT, and at least, we have been seeing people integrating large language models into teaching. How you can use the ChatGPT to teach programming, for example, or how you can teach with large language models to predict and to analyze data. We have seen that. We don't see too many yet, because always all of the how we can be as trainers, as teachers, sure that we can control the results that we are going to obtain. No? Because when we are teaching, we want to have a controlled environment where we want to train people to do things in the right way. So using large language models is still something that we are still in the first steps. And also now, this is how I'm answering the question of Matheus as well. Also, the other thing is how some people have been thinking as well on how to use large language models to create content for teaching. So this is something else. I don't see many of that yet, but I see that as something that is going to come up. That as in any other areas, we are using large language models as well to create publications, or to create texts, to create materials, to create not data, but to analyze data. So it's natural that at some point we are going to use that also to create training content as well. So, and then comes the second part of Matheus' question, that is how this is going to influence openness and equity. In a sense, as you were saying, we want to have a lot of materials in English. How we can use that, how we can benefit from maybe machine learning, or large language models, to transform that or to create based on things that exist already, some that are in other languages. That would be a benefit, I think. The question is, what we always talk about in bioinformatics, at least, is the equity problem. Opens the possibility to many other countries and many languages. This is a good thing, is in the equity. But then comes also what we talk about bioinformatics and the biases in the data that we have, and the biases that we have in training large language models. They're only focused on European data, let's say like this, or North American data. Then there's something else, you see. Then the bias in the data is something else. But I think that I can see there are a lot of opportunities here with machine learning in teaching, in education. Besides from, of course, teaching machine learning also to analyze data, the usual training courses that we have been doing at SIB and many other places where you use algorithms to analyze data. This is something that is more natural, nor that happens all the time.
I have a silly question related to ChatGPT. We have a couple of questions just to complement Matthias, but it's just a silly, right? Do you believe that ChatGPT can ChatGPT or large language models can replace teachers for teaching? Like we can get training from ChatGPT, right? Do you believe
we can?
With some point that they will replace the human resource for training, for example?
Maybe one day, but I don't think it's the case now. No, because first, there's one thing is the human contact. No, we have had online resources for ages. No, we can learn from online. We can see now that we go look online, we can find anything to learn. But at the same time, we still have people coming to our in-person course. In-person can be online as well. So those that we have a direct contact with human beings, where these human beings have a certain expertise that you can understand the kind of expertise as well, that you can there's someone behind that face, no? So I think maybe one day we are going to have like chatbots that can teach and talk to you, but you still call someone you prefer to call, especially some people prefer to have this human interaction. So
sure.
Maybe it's going to help, you see, but I'm not sure it can replace completely. Maybe later when the mods are really going to be really, really clever. No?
But we still have a huge field to cover until we reach that point, right?
Yeah.
I have a different question from Beatriz Mota. I will put in the screen. Can I read for you? So, how can we promote the adoption of third principles in bioinformatics education, emphasizing the benefits while acknowledging the added efforts required to adhere to them?
Yeah, I see your point. It does take time. It takes a mindset as well. You see, I can show you. I can tell you about the history that we have in SIB. We have been talking about making our training materials open, at least open, for at least 7 years, at least. It's only last year that we really managed to put all the pieces together and make them open and fair, only last year. So it took quite a while, first, because we had the problem of the mindset, people saying, I don't want to share my training materials, it takes a lot of time to make them, why should I share them with someone else? No. So the recognition as well, I saw that someone had a question about this. Once I put this open, how can I be sure that my work is going to be recognized afterwards? So besides from this, and how can I be sure as well that I'm going to be sure to be acknowledge everyone else from whom I'm going to be inspired of as well. Takes time, but then we also had the technical side of that. We are used to teaching maybe with slides, PowerPoint presentations. We can easily do this from one day to another one. We have our data sets. We do this many, many times per year. But when you do this open and fair, it takes time to really reflect if they are clearly annotated, if people can really use them and reuse by themselves without someone explaining to them in the back. So what are all the steps that you need to do? So it does take time, but at the moment, when you start, that's what I was saying, it takes baby steps, but at the moment that we see this happening more and more often, you realize, and you have the mindset, and then you also have this technicalities that are solved because in bioinformatics, we solve them anyway, because we are very technical people as well. Little by little, you see then that the time and effort reduces little by little. And the way to convince people is not only because we are giving back to the community, It as well is a good thing for you as a trainer, because at the moment that you put everything that you have on a GitHub repo and you're going to reuse next time, is going to be much less effort for your next iteration of your own course. You see, so is even either for yourself as a trainer is going to be a benefit, because for the one course to another one, we always forget. So what do I have to teach in this thing here? And where is my data set? No, if you have everything documented and in one single place, it's going to be much easier for you to reuse for your own or your own courses as well. I'm very much enthusiastic, and I always think things can be done, but I can understand it takes time and the mindset for that as well.
It takes time in the mindset, the proper mindset for that. Like, not everyone likes to share their content. Like,
yeah.
we do benefit from that point.
We do. We have inspiration from when we start with creating a course, we go look to see what others are doing. So we benefit from the materials that others have put online already. I see we have other questions.
I have a different question from Johannes. It's added from what Beatrice asked. So how can we address the issues of plagiarism and ethical concerns while adhering to the FAIR model in bioinformatics education to ensure integrity, responsible use of shared resource?
Yeah, it's a very important point. It's also about the mindset and even more being mindful as well. No? Whenever we do a course and we use the content of someone else, that's the question of the licensing as well. So if you reuse something, you have to acknowledge and cite and reference what you have reused. So instead of copy pasting, no, you were reusing because someone has given you access to that. So you have to be always mindful of what it again takes time as well. But it's in the same way that whatever you have done, you want someone else to cite and reference what you have done as a producer. When you create content, you also have this duty to do the same thing as well. So the plagiarism is, if we are putting things online to be reused, is not plagiat, is reusability. So you want others to reuse, and you are giving them the license to reuse that. So, which is different than taking, copying, and not saying from where you have taken that. No, and that's what the beauty, let's say, of the fairness, because by following these principles, one of the principles that is there is that whatever you reuse, you have to acknowledge. So you have to cite and say from where the source was. Again, takes time, but it's important for everyone. No? Whenever you do a publication, you do the same. You are going to cite every single sentence that you have in the publication.
Exactly.
For training, it's the same thing.
Just training, the materials that you use, the figures that you use. Even
exactly.
Because the figures from the Google, you have to put in the Google sites, for example.
That's what I have done for this slide. So today, before I put in them online, I say, okay, which were all the pictures that I have taken from home that I have to cite? You see, they are all open, they are all shareable. I made sure that I could reuse them.
Incrível, incrível. A Isabela, ela tem uma pergunta, eu vou colocar na tela em português, tá? Isso que eu mudei para português agora. Parabéns pela sua apresentação. Minha pergunta é: com o avanço constante das ferramentas e das novas versões, como fazer para manter esses materiais atualizados, considerando o esforço constantemente necessário, né?
Exato. Uma das maneiras, é verdade, quando a gente tem o GitHub Repo, ajudou muito para a gente fazer os nossos materiais com a versão e saber quando tem que atualizar, porque justamente como a gente faz GitHub Repos por cursos, né? O curso de single cell do mês passado vai ser o mesmo, adaptado com as versões, o que precisar, imagens, datasets, né, ou alguma coisa que mudou, tem um screenshot de uma resource, mudou, você tem que adaptar também, então o slide vai mudar. Então, usando o GitHub, ajudou a gente a manter essa version control de cada curso, né, porque aí tudo que você adaptou, precisou adaptar, está num lugar só, naquele GitHub repo, né? Então, vai ter uma nova versão, e a versão vai ter um número único, né? Um PID único. Ajudou a gente a pensar também nessa coisa. Como é que a gente faz para saber o que foi a versão 1 da versão 2, o que mudou, né? E também para o pessoal... Exato. E que também para quem vem usar o material do nosso curso, né? Ou quem assistiu ao nosso curso também. Tem um aluno que assistiu o curso que foi de 2022. Ele tinha aquele dataset naquele curso, ele quer reusar. A gente mudou o dataset. Ok, ele vai poder voltar naquele dataset daquele curso, que era o que ele precisava.
Referenciar aquele curso, né?
Exato. Fica mais fácil, né?
Tem uma contribuição também de manter o material atualizado, é que o chat GTP ele pode ajudar nessas atualizações, inclusive da ferramenta para buscar, né? Acho que o chat GTP ele é de ajuda, ele tem uma ajuda muito grande se a gente souber utilizar ele direito.
Exato.
Tipo, não que ele venha substituir, talvez no futuro, daqui a algum tempo, assim, ele possa sim substituir, realmente. Mas acho que por agora a gente pode utilizar ele para ajudar a gente a gerar esses materiais.
Exato. Seria uma pena não usar, né? Uma ferramenta que está à disposição, imagina. Né?
O Joe Anderson, quem fez a pergunta, considerando a questão do plágio, né? Só exibir aqui o comentário dele, agradecendo. Muito obrigado, Joe Anderson.
Thank you also. Obrigada, Joe Anderson.
Patricia, it was a great pleasure again for me to receive you here to open this webinar series for the Student Council, the 80th edition of the Brazilian Student Council. I'm truly inspired by your work, by the work you developed at CIB, and all the materials that you make fair. And certainly, I'm going to use this in the next events and the next course that we are promoting, the RCG Brazil. Thank you very much. Considering all the questions, truly inspired. Thank you very much.
Thank you as well. It was a great discussion. It was a very nice opportunity. I was very happy also with your invitation to have this opportunity to talk to my Brazilian colleagues. They're far away, but in my heart. And talk about something that is in my heart as well, about training and fair training that is so dear for me as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Would you stay with us? We are just going to close this session, and I will call Matheus to back to the stage so we can close this webinar today.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we have more two webinars in this month, and the next webinar will be from Professor Tarcísio Contínuo. He's a group leader inside the IFCE, o Instituto Federal de Educação Tecnológica do Ceará, né? Ele é do Laboratório de Tecnologia Educacional e Bioinformática. Ele vai falar sobre estratégias de ensino em bioinformática na educação básica e também na educação superior. E também nós temos, no final do mês, o webinar da Naila Soller, que ela vai abordar um pouco do uso das redes sociais e das plataformas para o ensino de bioinformática. Então, estendo esse convite a todos vocês, né? Já existe o link tanto no YouTube da B3C quanto no YouTube da RSG para esses webinars. Então, você pode ir lá no YouTube e ativar o sininho, né? Ativar o sininho, deixar marcado. E a gente tem um próximo encontro nas próximas semanas, até o evento principal, que vai ser dentro do X-Meeting. Então, eu gostaria de agradecer a todos que estão assistindo agora, a Patrícia por ter aceitado o convite, agradecer também a B3C, a ISCB, ao Student Council por ter fornecido todo esse suporte e apoio para a gente poder organizar esses eventos. Patrícia, muito obrigado. Eu espero te encontrar de novo em uma próxima oportunidade e eu vou encerrar essa transmissão aqui, tá bom?
Muito obrigada.
Obrigado, gente.
Um beijo. Obrigada,
Tchau,
gente.
tchau.
Tchau, tchau.